loved your choice of intro last week, Joe. It was on point, man. That thing was good. We actually have some comments. Where Dee was like, "Wow, Charles actually sounds excited for once." He commented on our Patreon feed, patreon.com/wise_nerdy. You can get not just an early access to the whole show. By a whole show, I don't mean the stuff you can find on YouTube. We actually record a half hour before, and sometimes up to like 45 minutes after, and you get a nice solid, not just behind the scenes, but Joe told 2 stories tonight. Kurt came in and shared some stuff. Afterwards, we usually wrap up some stories and share some other information or plan our next thing. So you want to be more inside of the family, be part of the Daddy-O's, come be a part of the Parliament family. We have so many names for our fans. Come just be a part of what we do. wiseandnerdy.com/ patreon.com/wise_nerdy. We need to do a link. We should make wiseandnerdy.com/daddy-o. We'll make it. So that is not what we call to talk about. All right, Rando Kid, are you happy? You happy? Kurt's here. Kurt, I think Random Kid would be happy if you were the only one who showed up. Kurt, you're like,
it's funny you should say that because he's not the only one.
Wow. Well, big thanks to Rilo and a mediocre thanks to Scott last week.
Very much so. In that order. Yeah.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah. So, all right. This week's, we don't have a question of the week, Joe. Where's our question of the week?
We forgot to put it in there. Today is the 20th. So the question of...
Hold on, don't read it yet. Just put it in there because I got to set it up.
Fine.
But Joe really, he came in hot tonight, Kurt. He was like, guys, I'm telling you, go join the Patreon. He's like, are we recording? Okay, here's this story. And he just, I mean, it was great. He was ready to go. So yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, one job. But tonight's question of the week is brought to you by Ben Holiday, Bonded in Barrel 100 Proof Bourbon. So that's what's going to get us through the show tonight. So, what's the worst movie you've ever watched? Besides your wedding video.
No, that's easy. Can I go in?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. So worst movie I've ever watched is called Epic Movie. It was one of those movies.
One of those spoof ones?
One of those spoof movies from the early 2000s.
And not done by the Wayans at all.
No.
It's just some knockoff of a knockoff.
But it was when all those, like, I Know What You Did Last Summer, because it was a Saturday night type of movies. And they did the superhero movie. They did, the epic movie. They did Not Another Teen Movie. That
one was okay.
Those were okay. But the epic movie was kind of making fun of Pirates of the Caribbean and Lord of the Rings and just like all of those big epics.
Yeah.
I walked out.
Oh, you actually went and paid to see?
I did. I went to the theater. I went to the theater because look, genre-wise, right up my alley. Like I'm going, oh, this will be fun. I'll be able to make fun, have fun making fun of all these things.
After Scary Movie 2, I couldn't do it.
Right. Scary Movie was, and those were fun, right?
They were.
But this movie, not funny at all. And just, I don't remember anything redeeming about it, to the point where I never walk out of movies. I have a very high tolerance for dumb stuff.
Yeah.
And
it's this podcast.
But no, it was terrible.
Well, that one you've definitely had on deck for a long time. What about you, Joe?
Oh man, it's a toss-up for me, to be honest. It's either gotta be M. Night Shyamalan's Last Airbender.
Okay, all right.
That's a good one. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Yeah. All right.
Or
it could have been one of a half dozen movies, by the way.
Shut your old pothole.
Or the Eragon movie. And
really?
I never read the book, so I can't say.
the Eragon movie, if you've never read the book, it's a bland
it was okay. It was
fantasy
no Dragonheart, but it was okay.
It's a bland fantasy that's very cliche and it's
forgettable.
it's probably fine and very forgettable. Very.
Yeah.
But if you've read the book, you will fully understand why I put this in there, because it was really, really bad. Like there's criticisms for the book in and of itself, but it was also a book that was written by a 15-year-old. So, it is what it is. It for a book written by a 15-year-old, it's pretty fantastic.
Yeah.
And so the movie was just atrocious. Everybody was human in that, even though there were supposed to be these Urgles, which are kind of like orcs with ram horns, kind of, but they were just like barbarian men. They're supposed to be the main love interest is an elf. No, she's just a slender, attractive human. Like everybody's human. No, not even pointy ears. And one of the big things that people got super upset about is they made her blonde when it very clearly states she has raven hair in the book. But that's very minor compared to all the other screw ups that they did. For some reason,
Ghost in the Shell for changing things.
But yeah, no, it was bad. But yeah, the sad part is I think the casting was actually really good for it. It was just the execution that was horrible.
I remember watching it and not thinking much of it. I didn't think it was terrible, but it was like, okay.
Yeah, and that's how my wife reacted to it as well. And then after we got married and I brought it up, I'm like, you should read the book. And she read it and she was like, oh, now I see why you trash on this movie. It is among my top 5 worst book to movie adaptations of all time.
Wow.
All right, so we need an
that's
after
a good
show.
list. Right.
Yeah, we need that for the Patriot After Show. What's the other 4, sir? I want to hear that list of top 5 worst book to movie adaptations. Left Behind being I've never seen that movie. Sorry.
We should talk about that after this show.
Oh my god! So I will say
after
it
this show.
It is, yeah, no kidding, Kurt. It is a very rare occasion where a Christian or a religious film at all turns out to be any good. I mean, and that means just mediocre at best, right? And after show, it's not what we're called to talk about. Mine, 110%. I've got a few that I don't like.
Please don't say the one I think you're going to say.
There's no way you're going to guess it. There's no way. Actually, let's take it. What do you think I'm going to say, Kurt?
Battlefield Earth.
No. Joe, what do you take a guess? What do you think I'm going to say?
Die Hard, the Christmas special.
Oh,
I mean, that's not real.
You cannot. All the Die Hards are great. I don't want to hear it.
Even the third one?
Yes, the third one is really good. Samuel L. Jackson, are you kidding me? Come on.
Or maybe it's the fourth one that I'm thinking of. Live Free or Die Hard, the one with the hackers. I still like
that one too. It was fun.
The PG-13 one. Yeah.
The fire sale. Anyway, no. And I like trash, right? I like the Transformer movies. I love the Transformers. I love 3,000 Miles of Graceland. Love it. Not a good movie at all, but I enjoy dumb movies.
Sure.
So when I tell you the worst movie ever is by far the worst movie ever, you could know that I've tested out a lot of bad movies to get to this conclusion. Frankenweenie, the worst movie of all time, not once, but twice. So the original came out in early 90s, maybe late 80s, and we were poor, right? What? You got something?
Isn't Frankenweenie like Tim Burton's college film?
Second, okay, I think he might have made it. Yeah, I think he might have.
He made an old one in black and white.
Yes, and then he did a claymation animation one. Still bad. Okay. And yeah, so we would once a month, maybe twice a month, we'd be able to go to the video store. And as a family, my mom wouldn't go. She didn't care. So it was my sister, myself, and my dad. And we pick out one and we take turns picking out a film. My dad's like, man, I really want to see this. So we burned our $2.50 on a movie rental, which is like $20 nowadays in this economy, to get, and we kept, the worst. It was just, even as a kid, I just liked everything. I was like, what is this trash? It was so bad. And then Tim Burton had the balls to do it a second time, and it was just as bad. I don't even understand what he was trying to do with this story. It is just, I like Tim Burton. I like a lot of his stuff. He did some of the best Batman work, I think. I like his style of stuff. Edward Scissorhands.
I mean, that classic.
Should be, if it's not, it should be on the AFI 100.
Yeah,
by all means. If it's not, But
so,
dude,
Frankenweenie, the 1984 one.
That's okay. Yeah. So older than I thought it was.
Gets a 74% audience score on Rotten
Tomatoes. Are you kidding me? What
kind
kind of high morons are watching that film?
That's okay. The 2012 remake, which I think is the claymation thing that you're talking about.
Yeah.
Tomato meter
by Tim Burton, right?
I think technically they both were, but
yeah. I think he did both of them. Yeah.
But the claymation one, 87% tomato meter and 70% audience score.
This is why you cannot. Well, one, okay. Critics, if they rated it high, it's crap. It's crap because critics always rate the greatest movies low. So, I mean, it's all a matter of taste. At some point, Tim Burton didn't have any, but that's okay. He makes up for it with James and the Giant Peach and other things. So
sure.
Joe's Googling the crap out of Phil right now. Go watch it, man. It's just the dog dies. The family doesn't want to be without their family pet, and it's a little wiener dog. That's why it's called Frankenweenie.
So it's Pet Sematary Light.
So
not even.
So just to give you a little bit of a comparison, Charles, Last Airbender, which was Joe's,
right,
5% tomato meter and 30% popcorn meter, which is their audience score thing now.
Yep,
objectively worse. and just to be fair,
because neither one of you have seen Frankenweenie.
I think I saw the original years and years ago. Epic movie. Epic movie. Tomato meter 2%. And popcorn, the audience score 29%. I win.
All right, objectively you win, Kurt.
Objectively I win.
You win. It's become a contest. I will say
it's always a contest if there's a thing to compete against.
I'll say old Ben Holiday is making me happy. It's a good bourbon. It's a good bourbon. By the way, I'll go ahead and I'll tell you kind of ahead of time what I'm nerding out about next weekend.
It's so quotable though, Kelsey. Okay. It's so quotable.
I refuse to watch that one. Turtle. Not watching
I'm going to be a master of disguise. I'm going to be a master of disguise.
I give Dave Harvey so much leeway because he's just fun to watch.
He is that. I'll be honest. I did not watch that movie because the trailer just made it go.
The turtle guy.
It's one of those movies that you have to watch when you're either super tired or otherwise mentally, cognitively impaired.
I'm not following, Joe. What do you mean?
Yeah. and how would you know?
Because I watched it tired.
He's been super tired.
Roll that dice.
So next week's Nerding Out is going to be my High Holy Holiday, the Beer, Bourbon, and Barbecue Festival, which I'm going to Saturday afternoon. So good.
All right, I'll let you pick because there's a chance we'll end on bad dad jokes, or we can start with them.
Just rip the Band-Aid. Rip the Band-Aid. Which, by the way,
joke.
We get side effects from watching the show. The side effects include upset stomach or diarrhea from way too many bad dad jokes. Poop emoji.
Wow.
AI put in poop emoji.
Oh man, what are we gonna do with you?
Did y'all even do bad dad jokes last week?
We did. I did a very much Valentine's Day themed one.
Apparently, Scott did a dark one because that's the thing that Devo said on Patreon. The Patreon feed was that
He did.
told it to his wife. She's like, "What's wrong with you?"
It was a good one. Oh man. Let's see. We do need a good one. Let's see. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Cash.
Cashew.
No thanks. I prefer walnuts.
Waka waka. I figured it was either a nut joke or a sneeze joke.
D's nuts. All right, that one came to us from Devo site. We've got one here from Tyler, aka the full run through as well. Knock knock.
Go ahead, Charles.
I gave it the office. Go away. No solicitation.
Who's there?
Doctor.
Doctor
No,
Who?
come on.
Correct.
Y'all are laughing way too hard at yourselves on this. This is bad.
It's because of your reaction. I love it. I live for the groans. I live for the groans.
Is that going to be our merch shirt? I live for the groans.
Yep.
Yep. 100. Now it is. You said it, so it's got to be.
You know, it's like on the front it says, "Ask me about BDJ," and on the back it just says, "I live for the groans." Oh my god.
Oh man.
Well, hey, guess what? There you go. You're already ahead of the game, sir.
It's personal story time.
Back when actually Kurt cared about being professional, he sounded great. I love it.
I don't know what you're talking about.
All right, I picked this one out. Something fun. Because I hope I'm not missing a mark here with everybody. You can even extend it to glassware if you wish, but it's like, what cool silverware or utensils did you have as a kid? And like, I as a kid was into Nesquik, the powdered chocolate milk, right? The big yellow thing, Nesquik bunny, all that. And there was a thing in the 80s where if you saved up enough proof of purchase, that was the best time, by the way. The best time to be a kid was in the 80s because you could get your parents to buy stuff and you send it as proof of purchases, which took like hundreds of dollars to get. And then they had to send like $6 shipping and handling. And we had, I actually still have it somewhere. This silver, not real silver, but whatever silverware is made out of nowadays, right? Whatever, plutonium, I don't care. But it's silver spoon. That's for a kid. It's not too small. It's not an adult spoon. And it was in you had the regular spoon part and a little bit of handle, and the rest of the handle was the Nesquik bunny. And it was absolutely made out of the pewter, or again, whatever regular utensils are made out of in the 80s. And I loved it. And then later on, we got plastic versions of different things. For those of you who didn't have that kind of silverware utensil, glasses, right? The collectible glasses like the Shrek was. So that's kind of the idea. So I mean, I loved it. I loved collecting those things, finding it later as an adult going, oh man, you're digging that out of a box somewhere. I still have them, just like the California raisins. I have all the California raisins from Hardee's in a box somewhere. But all right, so what did you guys Kurt, you might have had there was some really cool stuff in the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Well, I don't know about the 60s, but
sure
the only thing that really comes to mind is glasses were a big deal. And mostly fast food places and whatnot. Back when they actually gave glass, like they actually had glass.
Yep.
I still have some Disney ones that I got from McDonald's during one of their anniversaries, but before that, and for a long time, I still had them. I don't anymore. But Burger King had Star Wars glasses, and so there was and they were full color on the outside of pretty good sized drinking glasses. Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, and the first one was just called Star Wars. It was just called Star Wars. But yeah, you had all three. You can still eBay them. They're not terribly expensive. But I remember having those. And then as a teenager, I went through a skee ball phase. And so I would go now here in the Northeast anyway. A lot of our beaches have boardwalks, and along the boardwalks are a lot of arcades. And in the arcades, much like Chuck E. Cheese and things and Dave and Buster's now, you go, you play a game, you win tickets, and then you can buy stuff at the counter. And back then I would buy beer glasses, which literally standard 1 pint beer glass, but it had a logo of a beer or a sports team or like just a lot of different I must have had 30 of those things at one point just because I loved playing skee ball and loved cashing them in for those glasses. And it was cool. And they were pretty cool. And that was my glassware for a long time.
Look, real quick here in the chat, John Myers says I have some Burger Chef glasses. Don't know what that is. And Kelsey says, "Do y'all remember the color changing spoons in the silver boxes in the 90s?" Yeah,
we had several of those at home as well. My parents didn't really do a lot of these weird ones, it was pretty vanilla. The only thing I can think of that we had was we had some of those Disney cups that had the Disney the art on them.
Like the glasses or plastic?
The plastic ones that came in the box?
Maybe. I don't remember. I think they were plastic. Kurt's gonna go get some.
Well, there's really only two kinds. There's usually only the glass, which they changed out. Again, he was right. It's fast food stuff. I remember having like a Jungle Book on glass. Shrek, when it first came out, brought back the idea of here's real glasses. It's always a set of 4, right? You had to go and see if each McDonald's had it or whoever was sponsoring those kind of things. Plastic was a little bit easier to get a hold of. Kurt's still running to look.
Yeah, we had several of the glasses, but yeah, for the most part, the stuff we had was I mean, we had a hodgepodge of silverware in general. Like I don't think you could pull. So there's 6 kids in my family. So with my parents, that's 8 of us. I don't think we had a full set of 8 of matching anything for silverware. So yeah, no, it was just you set the table with what you have. All right, what do you got?
Couldn't find the ones that I was thinking of, but I do have these.
That's from Fantasia.
The Mickey Mouse Fantasia glass.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we didn't have that one, but yeah, we had Burger several.
King. I mean, I'm sorry, from McDonald's in the year 2000.
Now, fill the bottom of that. Is that flat?
No.
So that was later on. So here's the problem. In the 80s and 90s, they were making them cheap, right? And while you were looking around, telling me, the Shrek ones came out, and they brought them back, but they were different because they actually learned how to make glass better. Because here's what would happen is you would get these, and my mom had, I think it was the Disney ones. She really loved the Disney ones. We got them, and you drink out of it, and you put it on a counter, and if the counter was even slightly wet, they were flat bottom glass. So if it was slightly wet, it would just start slow with nobody touching it. It would just start sliding off the counter it'd go. And ultimately, we lost all of the glassware that way.
Some of us have houses that have level surfaces.
All right, thank you, 1%er, Kurt. Just because I grew up poor, you got to rub my face in the dirt. I don't know, but
there's a reason they don't have basements in the South.
Because we don't have tornadoes? I mean,
it's just a lot of houses around here. At least I don't know how it is in Georgia, but most houses around here don't have basements.
It does vary. Yeah, it's not standard. It is not a standard thing to build into a home because we don't have tornadoes. So
well, we don't have tornadoes, but we actually have basements everywhere. But that's because of the type of land that we're on more than anything else.
Yeah, and that's what I always assumed it was for here.
Like if you try to have a basement in Florida, you're underwater.
Well, yeah, there's that.
And that's why his house was level.
Yeah.
Not level. Stupid. Oh, man. All right, roll that dice. Nowadays, I mean, they make collector stuff. My wife, we went to Chattanooga. We found a Chinese store that an Asian store that Joe really needs to go to. What's it called? Tokyo. I go Tokyo. You still need to go down there and look at that store, man. Your family would love it. But it's stuff actually imported from Japan. And she got each one of the girls basically these little soup spoons that had all kind of characters and stuff all over them.
Huh. Yeah, I should try it out at some point.
Do they sell Gremlins?
No. Well, we went during the day. I think you have to go closer at night when nobody's around to find out.
I never remember.
Yeah. All right.
What are you nerding about?
All right, Jebby. And I'm sorry, Jebediah, that your dad hates you so much not to bring you to the Dragon Con Volunteer Appreciation Day. I appreciated signing your shirt last year and you paying me for that picture. I miss you, bud. It's gonna be good. What are we nerding about?
All right. Well, I guess I put mine on there first. So this past week, I took my family to Wonderworks.
Where's the closest one to you?
Up in Pigeon Forge.
Oh, okay.
Was that about an hour north of you?
2.5 hours.
And oddly enough, I called you randomly, which I never called you randomly, but I called him randomly.
Except when you butt dial me trying to, or I guess your Siri dials me.
It's a Siri dial. It's not a butt dial. Siri's an idiot.
But yeah, so we went to Wonderworks, or as my kids call it, the Upside Down Building. And this is their third time going, I believe. Third or fourth. I think it's their third. But anyway, absolutely love it. It's a blast. 95% of it remains the same each year, but they do change a little bit here and there, tidbits. But it is so much fun. And they got to go with some friends of theirs they just moved to the area about 8 months ago or so, 9 months. And so it's their friend's first time going, and so they got to show them all the fun things. And we were talking pre-show a little bit. My wife has lost quite a bit of weight since Labor Day, and so she was able to go on some of the features with the kids that she wasn't able to in the past. And so the kids were ecstatic about that. And yeah, it was a ton of fun. My middle child, Bob, afterwards, when he's laying down in bed that night, he's like, "Dad, why are my legs so sore?" And I'm like, "Kid, it's because you actually walked around instead of sitting on your butt playing video games all day." And so,
did they do the whole lift your own weight in the chair thing?
Yes. Yep.
Yeah,
well, and they've got two of them set up. Well, they've got two of them set up with a different number of pulleys, so that you can compare and contrast the effect of adding more pulleys. Because the one with more pulleys, it takes longer to raise you up, but the effort involved is significantly less. And so so they've got that. With our badges, you get one free game of laser tag. So they've got laser tag there. And unlike the Chiefs,
a fun laser tag there too.
Yeah, and unlike the Chiefs, I pulled off the three-peat.
Go Arts!
So yeah, my oldest, he was trying to get all of his friends to just follow behind me and shoot me, because every time you get shot, your shields go up and you can't shoot for a few seconds. And so even with him sending his horde of people after me, I still got first place.
Nice.
So, I beat those children. I beat them fair and square.
I just picture Joe like in a corner up on the roof with his legs spread, holding himself up, waiting for him to come around, pew, 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 as they come around underneath them. It's crazy.
Yeah, we don't have Wonderworks up here. I've never been in, but I've seen it like in Florida. I think in Orlando they have one. Mm-hmm. And I drove by it, and I remember the first time I drove by it, I went, "Is that building upside down?"
And in some cases it moves.
Oh, okay.
They have speakers in front of ours that make creaking noises.
Yeah.
Oh, even better. That's awesome. Yeah. So it's a great gimmick, right? It's a great gimmick, but I just thought it was like an arcade type thing on the inside.
No, it's all science and it's all about that. It's that whole thing, that perspective and everything else. Because I've been a few. I think I went to one in Pigeon Forge as well. I've been to Orlando one. There's one in Myrtle Beach. Because at different ages. Well, I went to Orlando. It's just me and my wife on like our honeymoon. I was like, "Oh, that looks cool. Let's go there." Then we took our kids, and the Pigeon Forge one, when you first walk in, it has that bridge that all the lights are going around it. Yeah,
it's got the spiral. So the bridge is completely level. It's fine.
It does not move.
But because the room is spinning, it throws off your equilibrium, so you go off balance.
Nice.
My wife hates that part. Then there's one where you hit the lights flashing button and the water looks like instead of going down, it's going up.
Yep.
You know, just so much more to it. So much about space and science, and you can get into a lander. And I think it's the Pigeon Forge one that has a big, like 3 or 4 story climbing.
Yeah, a rope course through
rope course.
Through the universe. Like there's a whole bunch of like planets and stars and stuff up there, and my boys went up there. Jebediah and Bob quickly noped out of that, but but Malachi went for a bit before turning around. His friends were all over it. They were having a blast up there and yelling down, "Look at me!" So, but yeah.
Apparently they have one up here. Well, up here being relative. In Syracuse, New York.
Is that a touristy place?
Well, it's a college town.
Place. Okay.
It's a college town, and again in the summer, upstate New York gets a whole lot of tourists because of lakes and whatnot. So, so Syracuse, so it's like 5 hours away from me. So I could go if I really wanted to, but
Yeah, no, I think it's one of those things like if you're on a trip to Orlando, maybe you swing it in.
Maybe.
Yeah. See, I just. The drive wasn't too bad because I just popped in my earbud and listened to a podcast the whole time. But yeah, the boys, we made sure to tell them the night before, make sure your electronics are charged, and if not, be prepared to bring a book. So, yep.
But man, when I was a kid, I didn't have electronics. My crayons were always charged. I was ready to color in my coloring book, man.
I etch a sketch and I liked it.
Yeah, I did. The magnetic hair, dude. Yeah. That was a high dollar, man. When I get my grandma bought me that guy, I was like,
Wild Woolly.
Yes. Oh my God, it was so dumb. But yeah, I want to jump to yours, Kurt. Okay. I renamed it just because.
I figured you did.
No, it's right up there. We know what he's going to do. So welcome to the new segment, Balatro Cooker.
Yeah. So look, just to put it out there, I'm still playing a lot of Balatro. I know it's crazy,
but it is such a great game.
It is such a great game. Yeah. But recently, probably a week ago or so, I got a rice cooker.
Now, see, that's why I renamed it, because I thought you talked about rice cooking multiple times here before, so I assumed you already had one.
Yeah, you've talked about it on the show before.
Did I talk about the one that I just got? Because
no. You had a rice cooker before,
I'm pretty sure
right?
2 weeks ago.
Oh, maybe it was 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
maybe,
2 weeks ago you did talk about your rice cooker.
Yeah,
so talked about putting it in your smoker.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, but it is actually the first rice cooker that I've had.
You know what it is? I've been watching you share recipes with everybody in our Discord. That's
yeah.
All right, so fair enough. It's not at the Balatro level. I apologize.
So I've just been trying to figure out what can I do with it, and everything I've done has been amazing. One of the things it has for a setting is steel cut oatmeal. Now, I like steel cut oats better than rolled oats. I just do. And I said, well, I'll give it a shot. And it was amazing. It was the perfect texture, because even like with regular oatmeal, if you add too much water, it gets too loose and it gets weird.
Yeah.
And you add not enough water and it gets to be like cement. And this was just perfect. And then you can just add anything you want. I had rice for dinner tonight where I just threw some chicken breast in it and chicken stock and some garlic parm seasoning from one of those like taco type packets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Just put it up, just sprinkled it on top, cooked it up. Delicious. It was fantastic. And the rice was cooked perfect.
Opa.
Yeah.
Now, are you playing with different rices?
A little bit, but not as much yet. So I ran through a bunch of basmati that I had, and I just got some jasmine rice.
I like jasmine rice too.
And jasmine rice is what I'm using right now. And then I'm gonna start playing with different types. I can do sushi rice, so I may end up trying to make my own sushi at some point, which I love.
Well,
sushi,
in that case, so. I don't know. I know everybody's talking about rinsing rice. Otherwise, you end up with sticky rice. Like, yeah, but there's definitely situations that sticky rice is what you want.
Yeah. So I have a whole routine now when I'm cooking my rice. I rinse it, drain it off, and then I wash it, which is kind of the same as rinsing, except you agitate it even more for about 30 seconds or so just to get even more of the starch off, and then I rinse it 2 more times. And it makes all the difference in the world. It just does. Otherwise, it can turn to mush. And now it just
like rice pudding.
No, that's just weird and gross. Yeah. that texture shouldn't go with pudding.
Yeah.
That's part of the reason why I don't really care for tapioca. Right. Right.
But I Casey J talked about adding coconut water, which I know y'all went back and forth and stuff on. I don't like regular coconut, the flavor or the taste, but coconut water and things is okay. But I love a good coconut curry, like coconut based curry.
Oh yeah,
really good. You just the green curries.
Did you try that coconut cake that I brought several years ago to?
Yeah, I mean it was moist. It was good. I can't. It's like chewing cardboard to me. I don't like coconut.
I don't like coconut either. Like, and it's a texture thing for me. Like
that's all it is. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like shaved coconut, and you bite, and it kind of crunches, and you feel like it shouldn't, and I don't like it. I'm
a big fan of coconut. So
the flavor is okay. It's fine. Like a pina colada is worse off without it. But
I like the pina colada without everything but the butter,
coconut shrimp. I like a good coconut shrimp.
No, I can do without it.
I get it. I mean, I'm not saying it's horrible. I get it, but I'm with curry. It's just a texture. It's just okay. Here's the weirdest thing. Did not. Okay, I know everybody looks at me and they think they know my educational background. I did not eat glue, nor did I actually eat lotion when I was a kid.
No matter how much you liked it.
But shampoo, he was all about it. That coconut scented shampoo.
No, Play-Doh. It tastes Play-Doh. It's salty. But here's the thing. Anytime coconut's in something other than a curry for me, it's just really good in a curry or a coconut-based tom yum or whatever. Thai food, basically. I can have coconut in Thai food. I like it. They do it the way I like. Everywhere else, I've been around because I grew up around pools all my life, and suntan lotion always had the coconut, whatever, blah, blah, blahs in it. And you breathe it in. And so every time I smell it just smells like lotion.
So you just associate it with lotion and
shampoo
and stuff.
Suntan lotion. So I just can't.
I get that. Yeah. And I still don't understand why that even was a thing.
It's kind of like the cilantro and soap connection that people
that's
make.
A gene in your brain, right?
Yeah, that's a different thing. Yeah. I mean, but I mean, like,
but maybe you're on something, Joe.
Why do we put coconut scent in suntan lotion anyway?
Why do we put banana scent in any bleeping thing? Same thing. Wash your hands with coconut and banana. What am I? A tropical idiot? I don't know what to say here.
Yeah, I hate it. I want my suntan lotion to smell like tomatoes. How about that?
Bacon. Make my tanning lotion smell like bacon. Come on.
It's still weird. It's all weird.
Yeah, it is.
So what's Shangri-La Frontier there, Charles?
Oh, that's a good one.
All right. See, this is where I hate Joe so much sometimes. Because I knew when I was watching this. One, I recognized the character from seeing the figures in stores when I was, okay, that's this character. And I knew there was a certain weird scene that I had paused on while I was doing something. Like, I bet you. It's just like the guy's shoulder with this little tattoo mark on his arm and this other weird character. I guarantee you, if I took a shot of this and sent it to Joe, he'd go, "Oh yeah, Shangri-La Frontier. I've watched the whole season like 4 times, and the books are better. And the manga, what's coming up in the manga, Bubba?" And but no, you're cool, man. Because everything is
the
cool.
second season is currently airing. It's great.
But everything that's fun is fun. So Shangri-La Frontier is an anime.
Huh?
Would you like to play the "What is the anime about" game?
Sure.
Because you're not the only one. Because I've watched it. He's watched it. So.
Yeah. Shangri-La Frontier. I think Shangri-La is a trick. So, however, I'm going to say this is a show about 3 travelers who are trying to make it to Shangri-La, but the whole thing is about the trek there and they have to go through 37 levels of hell, and one of them is virtual.
Okay, you're not that far off, sir. You're not that far, because it's very straightforward. I like the straightforward animes. So Shangri-La Frontier is the name of a VR game in this anime world, and the main character plays all these trash games, and he gets so good at it. And he's the kind of min-maxer that sacrifices all his armor as soon as he gets started to get better weapons. And so he's a naked player, right? He runs around in shorts, and he, in this case, he has this bird mask that he wears. But that's it. Like, he wants to boost his stats, get strong. But that's it. There's nothing special. They don't come into the real world. It's just him playing this VR game. And yes, like in any other social game, there's 2 or 3 people that are playing with them. And I don't know why it's called Shangri-La Frontier, other than that's just the game they're playing.
Yeah, that's the name of the game in the anime.
And so the whole thing really is just about beating the bosses and exploring the game. And it's fantastic. Except in the first episode, Kurt, get past the first episode. I'll tell you, you'll try if you want to.
I loved the opening.
The opening's great. The opening is great. He's beating this trash. No, the opening is fantastic. But when he gets to Shangri-La Frontier, now he's, like I say, he's playing all these like penny arcade games, if you will. It's just trash. They call them trash games, and servers get abandoned, all this other stuff.
And they're so riddled with glitches that it's almost impossible to beat unless you can figure out how to use the glitches to
which of course
beat
he's
it.
A master of. He's one of those guys, right? So he gets into this AAA Shangri-La Frontier game, and for whatever reason, throughout the whole first episode where he's playing that game, when he's fighting enemies, he yells Shangri-La, and like, why? Why are you yelling this? It has nothing to do with what you're doing.
It's an anime. It makes perfect sense.
But he stops doing it later, and like he skipped the whole first entry level world city, whatever, which is called what, First City or something, Joe?
Yeah,
it's
something like that.
Nose.
Of course it is.
But he skipped it. And I mean, he is just, it's so much fun to watch him level and build. And there's no consequences because it's a game. So they die, they go back to their spawn point. He brings his buddies in to play. They jump to another game, sometimes one of these glitch fighting games to do things. And Joe, I got, of course, I know how he got that tattoo. I'm not going to weigh anything because I think everybody should go watch it. I got to the special boss event where him and the 2 friends are fighting it. The you know what I'm talking about. The Weatherman. Yeah, the Weatherman guy. Dude, Kurt, when I tell you, some of them are okay because it really is just like watching a show about people playing games. So there's sometimes where there's leveling stuff, sometimes they're just talking, whatever. And so it's some of it's like, just keep going. But when they got to they had been building up to this fight, as in a real game, like you will, like WoW to go rating.
Right.
The 4 or 5 episode arc they did for this fight was like I had to stop working and just watch it. It was just so on point, so good.
Okay.
And it's just, for me, it's different because I haven't watched one where it's not a real thing, right? He didn't get sucked into the game. It's not a whole world. It's just he puts on the VR helmet, he plays the game. Yeah. And yeah, man, it's. And so he's finding the cool weapons, and he's accidentally triggered some other things, and it's opening up worlds. So it's also like when you and I used to play any of the Marvel games, like, somebody unlocked this, and they were the first to unlock this. That kind of feeling in there. Of course, he's the main character, so he's like doing it all, but it's a lot by accident, and just it's enjoyable. I really enjoyed it. And the story behind that for me is when I was at the Dragon Con digital media, not digital media, the Dragon Con directors meeting, Tony Gowell, who works for Dragon Con, he happened to be talking to somebody else about some anime. And so of course I go, it's almost like when you're in the religious circles, somebody's talking religion, like, oh, have you heard about Jesus Christ? Have you heard about Jesus? So they're talking about something. They're like, oh, have you heard about solo leveling? Solo leveling. Tell me you've heard about solo leveling.
Oh, like, season 2 is fantastic.
I can't wait till I am so waiting for it to be done because I'm just going to binge it without stop, just straight through.
Well, brief tangent. It solo leveling has brought down websites because of traffic, because of how popular season 2 has been.
Really?
Nice.
Yeah.
All right.
The first season was, I watched it twice in full and then once in an abbreviated version in a movie theater. So 3 times basically. First season, so good. So good. So yeah, this one for me is up there. Solo Leveling hits differently because it's real, right? For him, for the character, it's a real thing in that world. Whereas this is that, but yeah, so they were talking about, and Tony's like, oh, if you like Solo Leveling, you need to try Shangri-La Frontier. And he kind of hinted at, I thought it was gonna be like something comes out of the game with him, but once I realized that wasn't what's gonna happen, I didn't mind. It was like cool. So thank you to Tony Gowell of DragonCon for turning me on to that.
So if people wanted to watch Shangri-La Frontier, where is it streaming?
For me, I'm watching on Crunchyroll because this is where I go to find them now. But Joe, I'm sure it looks like he's Googling to see if it's on other places.
Yeah, it's definitely on Crunchyroll. Let's see. Shangri-La.
I will tell you, if you like any anime, that $7.99 a month for Crunchyroll is worth every freaking penny.
Yeah, it's for streaming. It's just on Crunchyroll, although apparently you can buy it on Apple TV. But for streaming, it's on Crunchyroll.
Okay.
Then my second thing is, I did go see Captain America: Brave New World.
I did not yet.
I'm not going to spoil anything. I will tell you, Kurt. This is why I wrote Dolby Theaters. I'm not here to geek out about the movie. The movie was fun. I think you're going to know the whole movie. If you know any of the comics and you watch the previews, you basically know the whole movie.
Yep.
So if you have an opportunity, I know AMC has them, and I go to my nice AMC 30 to 40 minutes up the road versus across town to the crappy one, because they have the Dolby Theater and other nice stuff. That made all the difference. Every war scene, the seats are shaking, and you're just, it's like a little kid, like, oh my God. We see it in the trailer, the Red Hulk, catches the shield and slams it. It shakes you. So it made I'm not going to review. I'm not a reviewer from my personal experience, because I basically knew the whole story from the previews and from the histories of the comics. It made what was an okay movie for me a great experience, because you just feel like you're just being brought into more of that when you're there. And then our AMC has a clearance rack. And my wife loves to go look at it. It has a 50% off rack, and they're always changing the stuff out. And I'm going to let you guys guess at how much this bad boy was. Because what I'm showing on stream right now is a Deadpool. It's not made by Stanley, but basically it's Deadpool Stanley cups, like 40 ounces. It's Deadpool, beautiful on one side, fully licensed. The other side says nerding since the 90s. Duh. Guess how much.
Is it metal or plastic?
It is metal. Guess how much this was at a movie theater.
$7.99.
35.
Oh my God. What, Joe?
I said 35.
35. $14. $14.
Okay.
On clearance. So yeah, I was like, because they didn't have any prices on it, because the sign says 50% off marked price. None of the cups had prices on them. And I went up to the counter, because we always pre-order our food and stuff, so we don't have to wait in line. But I went up to the counter and said, I just want to see how much it was. And it rang up 13 something before tax. And I was like, you have to get it. Yeah. I'm like, no kidding. Give me a second. Get my card out. Of course I'm going to get it. This thing is just, it is really, really thermally insulated. It's like 12 hours cold, 6 hours hot. It's a good cup. $14. Full on Deadpool. I love it. I love it a lot.
Cool. Yeah, so I'm hoping to go see it this weekend. And it's an AMC theater that I go to see it at. I like the recliners.
Yeah.
But I just didn't have the ability to go last weekend because, well, we've been getting snow and snow and snow. It's been an issue. But it's supposed to be like 40 degrees this weekend, so I think I'll be able to go.
Well, if you have the opportunity, do it in the Dolby, because it's a little crisper screen. It's a better color. The sound.
I try. Yeah. I try to get whatever I can for the best option that they have. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Although Daredevil's starting soon. And the first 2 episodes are March 4th. So very soon.
Very soon.
And here's a sleeper. If you've not caught it at all, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man cartoon on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
I've
seen previews for
it. So this first season just wrapped up.
Okay.
It is fantastic. It is like if you liked X-Men 97.
Oh yeah, that's right. That was their version of Spider-Man.
So if you liked X-Men 97, this is very much a Spider-Man year one type thing. But the writing makes it so much fun. And Doctor Strange is in it. Daredevil's in it. Daredevil voiced by Charlie Cox.
Nice.
Oh,
which is a nice touch.
Okay. Yeah.
They make reference to MCU stuff.
But it's not technically part of the MCU, right? Or maybe it could be with multiverse stuff.
Well, here's the weird part, right? Spider-Man and Spider-Man Year One, but they make reference to the Sokovia Accords.
Oh, okay.
And Civil War, except Spider-Man was part of Civil War in the MCU.
Well, but he kind of was year one at that point too.
Ish. Yeah, that's true. Ish.
Yeah.
So the timing kind of fits.
Yeah.
It's just weird and
sure.
But it's cool. It's really well done. It's really well done. Are you guys familiar with Nico Bonoro?
Yes. Yeah.
So right, Nico's from the Runaways.
Yeah.
But she's in the same high school as Peter in this show.
All right. That's right. That's cool. That works.
And I'm not going to give away. There's a lot of differences, but there's a lot of key Spider-Man characters where you go, huh, okay. And yeah, it's awesome. It's so good. It's so good. So it might be my number 2 cartoon that they've done since Disney Plus started doing Marvel stuff.
All right. Another little side note. How I hit this there.
Roll that.
Yeah, sorry, tangent.
Tangent. Pixar has launched a show, Win or Lose, or something
Win or
like
Lose,
that.
and I haven't seen it yet.
I haven't either, but I saw the preview. It looks good.
I'm looking forward to it. What you got, Joe?
Council of Dads.
Bob, you're killing me. It's Parliament of Papas. So, dads, this is where we're going to come together and give our stamp of approval. Kurt's got the gavel. He still won't give it up, but that's okay. You know, for 3 installments of $19.95, he will ship me one. So I'm saving up my pennies and my proof of purchases to get it. Sorry. Normal for dads or not. Dad sitting in the bathroom or garage or staying at work to hide from their kids.
I mean, it's a bit of a cliche. You see it pop up as jokes all the time.
As joke, right? But every joke has some truth to it. So we have to be honest here. Have we ever taken longer in the bathroom than we should have?
I wouldn't say I've never taken longer to do a task than I ought to have because I'm listening to a podcast or something, or I'm watching a show.
Logged off. She's not listening now. You can be honest.
She's listening.
No, she turned it off. Trust me, bud. Trust me.
And just to finish up without having to pause every 3 seconds because hey dad.
I guess technically that's avoidance because we're talking about avoidance.
Taking that extra. What could have been a 10-minute thing, it turns into 30 minutes. She's like, I just need some break from these kids or something.
Yeah, I also think. How many kids do you have, Joe? 3.
I've got 3. Yeah,
he's a rookie.
So I think the number of kids has something to do with it as well. I think the more kids that you have, the more likely you are to do this. But I will say I don't have a recollection of doing this, but if we have like a bunch of people over, like we're hosting a family gathering or something like that, absolutely. Look, I host my granddaughter's birthday party every year, and we get somewhere 10 to 20 people depending on the year. And I love my granddaughter to death. Like, she's one of my favorite people in the world. 10 minutes after people show up, I'm like going, I need a break. I'm going to the store. Anybody need anything? Which is the equivalent. I don't need to go to the store.
Sure, yeah.
I'm making an excuse to go to the store because okay. I like my solitude. So that's part of this. Like at my wedding reception, my wife and I sat down as the first time as husband and wife. We sat down at the head table at the reception. 10 minutes in, I'm going, how long do we need to stay?
Does anybody need anything?
No, but it was like, how long do we need to stay? It just, So
people good.
So I think it is more normal whether people want to admit it or not.
Joe, you talked about doing tasks. Tell me you've gone to physically. Hey, work needs something. I gotta go down to the basement for an hour.
Thank you for your honesty, Kelsey.
Yeah. Kelsey's mom sometimes do it too. When they're little, it's harder. It's a lot harder for the moms to get away. My wife tells stories of like she'll try to get it when they were smaller, toddlers, right? She'll go to the bathroom by herself, and then the fingers coming in the door, ma. No, so yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't been on call for a long time, but I don't think I ever use that as an excuse to avoid it, because most of the on-call stuff is after hours anyway, and so
I think you're missing the whole heart.
I know I am, but
it doesn't mean you're a bad person.
No,
if you're
it
admitting
doesn't.
This.
But a lot of the time when I would get on-call calls, it was after the kids had already gone to bed. And so that's time that I can spend with my wife. I don't generally try to avoid my wife. Every now and again, I do try to avoid my kids.
I'm gonna frame this a little bit of a different way.
Okay.
You are at home. You're not going to work. Kelsey's at home too, and the kids are running around like mad people because they can't go outside, or for whatever reason, they're just being nutty today. Do you give yourself a timeout in the bathroom?
I mean, I've done that, or just set the kids for a timeout.
I
admitted that I've done that before.
Okay, but you're trying to frame this around, I have work stuff to do, so I have to take the extra time. And we're talking about being honest about avoidance.
Look,
and
I have.
Look, the reason why we go to the garage, though, or the bathroom or whatever, is because we need the timeout, not them.
Yeah.
Who cares about them in the moment?
Okay, I'll take us out a little bit of that. When my kids were smaller, they definitely got nap times because I needed it, not because they needed it sometimes.
Sure. But at a certain age, though, that doesn't work anymore.
No, right. So the family thing, people come over. It just depends what's going on. I will sit in my backyard. Like somebody tries to take my chair right now, get out of my chair.
Yep.
I got my cigars. I got my alcohol. I want to sit here by my fire pit all day and enjoy the weather. Because usually it's like Easter or that kind of thing. But I have absolutely, when I had the studio in the basement, would go downstairs and eat and watch my TV or play my games, whatever. Same, got my studio out here in the yard. I'll do that. But definitely there's been some times when I go to the bathroom and like, it's actually kind of nice and quiet right now. I'm just going to watch some more TikTok and just see. And there's definitely been times after the show, I'm like, I don't feel like going inside. I'm just going to sit here and watch some TikTok and sit at my desk.
I have a theory that most of the reason why men own barbecues is for their timeout.
Yeah.
Because I've also done that. Like if I'm making something for the party, part of the reason I'm making it is because I have to now pay attention to that. That's awesome. And then if everything's going on and it's just crazy, I need to go check the smoker. And I get a beer, bring it outside with me, sit next to my smoker and go, it's going good.
You know what's funny is because it brings, with the family stuff, it brings so much peace to the event because if I get bored and I hear people say stupid stuff, which they all say, I start having the fun game of let's piss people off and call their stupidity out because I'm bored. So if I'll go sit by the fire pit and drink my bourbon and sew a cigar, my wife will virtually wait on me hand and foot. She'll come out like, hey, you need a plate? You ready? I'll take it, just because it's bringing harmony. I'm happy. The family's happy. She's happy, as like, not that I would ever say, well, we should wait on you, but it is very nice to have somebody bring you some pecan pie and ice cream and not have to get up for it.
But in all seriousness, though,
Rando's
I mean,
Rando's dead on.
Part of the issue is look, Charles, to take your example.
Yeah.
Let's say you had to stay inside and deal with everybody. Not only would you make their lives worse, but you would make your own life worse because you would start getting all stressed out and pent up all of that versus giving yourself a timeout because now everybody's happier.
Yeah.
And then when you have to rejoin, you're in a better mood.
Yeah. And even in this last one, I talked about setting up a projector for New Year's Day and they wanted to watch the foosball game and all that crap. I turn it into like a gig. So I set up a chair next to my computer projector like I'm working.
Yep.
And I just sat there while they were 5 feet from me, but they're at the kitchen table and they're all talking dumb crap. And I'm over here and everybody, it is a universal truth. You want to disappear at a party? Act like you're working some tech. You will not exist to anybody. Nobody talked to me. Nobody did anything. I was like, this is kind of cool. It's too cold to go outside. So this is kind of cool. I can sit next to my projector. I could play my video games, do whatever I want. And just like a real gig, nobody bothers me. It was fun. This one from Random Kids. Oh, no, I have to work on Friday instead of going to that kid from church's birthday party. Yeah. Working on the garage for a fake issue. Yeah, plenty of people do it. I don't lie about it. I'll definitely tell people you're welcome to my food in my house, but I don't want. And I mean, the whole getting a nice backyard versus before we had an okay front yard, but it just wasn't enough space, and too many people wanted to be out in the front yard as well. I'm like, nah, I'll go down to my basement. But now that I have a nice space, I seem more social. Because there I am, and it's open to anybody to come walk and talk and sit out. We have a picnic table. I think no, Kurt, you haven't been to this house yet, but you can imagine it. It's.
I think I have. Yeah.
Were you here last year?
Yeah. Well,
or 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Okay,
you were in the new house.
All right, cool. Yeah.
Because you got your kids' sheds all out in the back.
Yeah.
I slept in your shed.
That's right. You did. You slept right in the studio. Yeah. So okay, cool. So you've both been. Yeah. It's just having the ability to have space, and man. I know I don't own the copyright on this, but I have some really dumb in-laws. And they say some really dumb crap. That even the other, like, I'm not talking about the ones who live in the neighborhood with me. I'm talking about the ones who come in from out of town once or twice a year that everybody doesn't like. That don't have to even say hi to them. I get my plate, I move out, done. It's so good. But yes, there are definitely times when I'm like, my wife's mad at the kids and they're yelling. I'm like, I'm just going to play another round of Balatro real quick before I go. Let that cool off for a minute. That's their problem, not my problem.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's good for our mental health. And I think that we make our families' lives better by doing that.
Yeah.
For taking some time to ourselves.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep. Yeah, and I get it now, Kurt. I know why Joe's dodging the work thing because I finally figured out his excuse.
He's afraid of Kelsey.
Well, yeah, we know that. We know that. But it's like, no, kids, Daddy's got to go pray. Well, he goes down in the basement, pray into Jesus.
There was a while there where I was struggling, and I talked to Kelsey about it, and she was like, "If you need to, just stay downstairs for half an hour after you're done with work and watch something.
Decompress, yeah."
Yeah, and so I've done that, and it's just, I talked to her about it.
I think most people do hide it, right? They don't talk to their spouse, they sneak out, and that is how I framed it.
In the moment, yes. It's certain. I mean, again, it depends on the context, but like I would talk to my wife about it afterwards, and just say, hey, I disappeared because I was going to kill someone.
And everybody needs their space, right? Everybody definitely needs some time.
Well, my wife also understands I don't like crowds, even if I know them.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. My wife will absolutely in the middle, because this thing, Christmas dinner, right? It's an all day thing. The Thanksgiving starts at like 2. Okay. So all morning, her and her brother's been prepping, cooking, blah, 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 blah. Everybody shows up at 2. By about 4, nobody cares. Everybody's just talking to whoever's there. She'll go take a nap. She will disappear to the back and take a nap and just gone. And very rarely somebody goes, where did it go? Because nobody cares. Everybody's just caught up in their own little conversations. They don't even realize. And we do have a couple of different spaces you can be in, so you can be anywhere. But yeah, All right. Well, good to know that everybody but Joe takes time for themselves, and Joe's just a great husband, and that's okay.
Roll that die.
What do you think I do this podcast for?
The money.
Yeah, the money.
Oh, looks like we're doing
a commercial break.
Yeah.
Let's get paid.
All right, everybody. Hey, wait, let's see this one.
Donate to your daddy. Patreon.com/wise and nerdy.
Yeah, daddies. All right, daddios. Join us out. Let's chill out some music. But yeah, patreon.com/wise_nerdy helps us out, brings more cool 3D printing around. We're gonna give some of that away. We've got a new logo coming that we're hiring somebody to do for us that will make some merch and whatever and give that away some and sell some of it, of course. And, let's just go out and do more live events. So come join that team. And you know what? The economy's tough. If you can't afford eggs, come and join us at our Discord. That's Linktree, linktr.ee/wise_and_nerdy. You can be a part of the conversation and not have to make an omelet. Or I don't know where I was going with that. It's free. I'm just saying it's free.
I'm just saying, my wife sent me a link to a chicken coop that we may get eventually.
Yeah, so then you really don't have to talk to your kids. All right, cool.
Your face, Kurt.
If you got some spatial audio, that's a really cool anti-ADD song right there.
This song's freaking me out, man.
I have that version of ADD where if I can get that spatial audio that does those wobbles and stuff, I'm like, oh, this feels so good. I feel so calm right now with let me tell you, the spatial audio is so cool. I've got through work, I've got the newest iPad, and I have an older set of AirPods that I use, and I haven't used AirPods with an Apple device like that in a while. And the other day I turned on, I don't know, Arrested Development or something. It was just off to the side of my main computer or my tablet, and I turned my head and it started playing, and I thought it was coming through the speaker on the tablet. And so I had to check it. It was just spatial audio because when I turned my head, it knew the tablet was off to my right a little bit, so I heard it more in my right ear than in my left, and it freaked me out for a second, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool what they've done with the science there. But that is not what we're here to talk about. Joe, you told me not that long ago you were Bob the Builder, and you were fixing stuff all up in your house. So tonight's How Do I, and I'm glad you're here, Kirk, so I think you're going to jump in on this.
Good luck.
How do I do home repairs? We had Vito on not that long ago talking about how he's celebrating doing something on his own. When you're new, or maybe not even new, and you fix something in your house, you feel great. But how do you even get started? And I think you did do something here recently, Joe.
Yeah, the way you do home repairs is you ask someone else to do it.
Okay, to be fair, my brother-in-law doesn't even wait. He won't let me even fix something myself. He just comes in and does it. But I have actually done a few little things of my own.
My wife is spot on. YouTube tutorials.
Yes, sir.
You can find out how to do all kinds of stuff on YouTube. There's tutorials for all kinds of different repairs that you would need to do. Yeah, and then there's stuff that you pick up as you go. I mean, this isn't a big repair, but this past week my kids had broken the toilet bowl seat, the toilet seat, and so I had to switch that out. That's only a couple of bolts. Pull them out, pull it off, replace it. It's good. Although I don't know what I do know what they did, but we're gonna keep that off of here. But the washer
show is gonna be full of crap. I love it.
The washer did not want to come off of it. It was adhered to the toilet, and I had to get a lighter because there's a plastic washer to get it to release from the toilet. That was a pain.
It's so disappointing. The lighter. I would have gone like, oh, this is a great excuse to get a hand torch from Home Depot just to get this one washer off.
Oh man. But that a lot of stuff will come with instructions. Like I've changed a bunch of the flow regulators in the back of the tank of toilets, and they've got instructions on them, so those aren't too bad at all. There's a lot of stuff that you can do yourself, even just not just the home repairs, but like your car, if you feel so inclined. There's a bunch of little stuff that you can do yourself to save you. And I'm not talking anything huge, like changing your windshield wipers or changing your air filter or changing your light bulbs, all of that is.
So I say woo because I actually have to replace my brake lights on my Ford C-Max, which is a hybrid, which is a nice curvy little car. I changed the light bulb, the headlamp on my front of my car. It took special freaking hex screwdrivers that luckily my brother-in-law had. So sometimes it's not as easy, but yeah, you're not wrong. I mean, there's some really cool things you can do. That most everything can be easy.
Yes, depending on your vision for how you want it to look in your house, especially if you're doing something big. When we redid our porch, that was actually kind of like with your brother-in-law. My father-in-law was just like, I'll do it. It needs to be done. So we ended up just buying the supplies and he did it because for a little while there, I guess he had run out of projects at his own house because he was finding projects to do at our place there for a little while. And I mean, he's got the stamina of someone 50 years younger than he is, because he's in his 70s and he's replacing our deck and stuff like
70 isn't what it used to be by any stretch.
But let's see, I'm trying to think of the different stuff that we pretty soon here we're going to need to replace the one of the light fixtures in our kitchen. It takes fluorescent bulbs, but the bulbs are not getting sufficient electricity to maintain the lighting. So there's got to be some kind of short in the fixture.
Is it the ballast or is it the fixture, you think?
I don't know. It could be either, to be honest. At first we thought it was because I know they had changed the some of the laws regarding fluorescent bulbs. So I was wondering if maybe the bulbs were incompatible with the older socket, but my father-in-law had some of the exact same bulbs that were in it before and they still weren't working. So that way we could isolate the fact that it's got to be an electrical issue with it. But yeah, so we'll look up tutorials and I'll probably ask my father-in-law for help because he's replaced those in the past. So, basically it all boils down to finding someone that knows how to do it and learning from them, whether it's online YouTube or someone personal in your life. If you want to get better at doing home repairs, it's all about learning and not being too proud to admit that you don't know, because I do think that some people see it as an issue of pride, especially if they're generally handy around the house. They might take pride, but then one specific aspect they might not know how to do it and not be willing to admit that they don't know how to do it. So
there's something we said about I think it's gonna be complicated and I can't and it's without even trying and looking. But yeah, I agree. YouTube is great. I actually took apart a motorcycle and put it back together with most of the parts put back where it's supposed to be. It cranked. It would not crank before. It cranked after the YouTube video. But before those videos, you would have people teaching. I think Kurt might have some stories about somebody teaching them. Mine was none of that. My dad wasn't very handy. We didn't live near my grandfather. He was handy, but I only saw him like twice a year. When my grandfather passed away, he had this big book from 1982 or something like that. That was like from Sears and Roebuck. about 101 repairs you can do in your own home. I'm like, this is kind of cool to look through. And then I ended up using it because it showed me how to patch a hole in drywall. And I was like, oh, this is really cool. And I felt like a man because and it's, I mean, now it's so much easier, but it's basically cut your own patch of screen, blah, blah, blah. I mean, it just says, it doesn't say this, it like walks you through it, but to me, it's like, hey, dummy, it's not that hard. It's just stick it up and spackle it. You're done. You know? So that was kind of how I learned. Kurt, how did you learn?
Yeah, so I stink at that stuff. So
I'm actually a little surprised by that.
Yeah, no, I look, I was a computer geek way early on. So I put all my effort into that rather than car repair, home repair, that kind of thing. So I can do basic things like I will look at what it is and what it takes to do it. I will watch a YouTube video, but there's a threshold, and I can't define what that threshold is. But if it looks like it's going to take more than a couple of steps and have any complication whatsoever, I'm out. Like I'm just out. And so for example, I can change ball cock in the back of a toilet, that kind of thing. I'll swap out the batteries in the smoke detectors, that kind of thing. That's not a big deal.
That's white privilege.
Sometimes if something it looks like there's a clog, I might be able to, depending on the sink, turn off the water, go underneath, make sure I have a bucket, and then unscrew the U connector.
Just screws and bolts, basically. Yeah,
right. And with the car, it's air filter, easy. On my Prius, there were engine coils, what were called engine coils, which are things that sat over the spark plugs. But they were in such a way that you could literally just unscrew something and just pull them out, get the replacement part, put it back in, and screw it back on. Really easy, really, really easy. Changing my oil, forget about it. A buddy of mine changed my brakes. I watched him do it, and I went, "No, I'm not doing that."
Yeah, same.
But repairing, replacing wipers. Yeah. The air filter, the oil, not the oil filter, way different, but the air filter in the car. I now get annoyed if a garage wants to charge me for replacing that. If they say you need a new air filter, cool, I'll do that. Because I know exactly what to do. You need a new cabin filter too. Cool, I got that too. Like once I figured out how to remove the glove compartment, I'm all over that.
I don't want to do the cabin filter.
Oh, I'll do it if it needs to be replaced. But
what's funny on mine, so I was at a place that changed oil, whatever, and like, yeah, we suggest you change your air filter. But okay, because I already looked at it, and they're like, cool, and it's one of these quick lube places, whatever.
Yeah.
And they had to take out ratchets to take apart the top part of the engine to get to the air filter. Like, yeah, in this car, it is not that easy to get to the air filter. So make sure you put it back together right, kiddo. And they did. But yeah, it's like it depends on the car, but that one just cracked me up. Like, yeah, we'll change it. Like, sure, here's your $20, go for it.
But like on my very first car, which was a 1980 Chevy Monza.
Oh yeah,
I had I bought it from a buddy of mine. I think I've told this story, but I bought it from a buddy of mine who's going to give it to the junkyard for $150, and he sold it to me for $150 instead. But the trunk was pushed in, and so whenever it rained, the rear lights would short out.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
And so I had to carry and know how to replace. And again, it's not a big deal. It's just the lights, right? It's really not a big deal. But as a kid, not knowing anything, I had to figure out how to do that. And I would carry a 6-pack of bulbs with me at all times. And I also had to figure out how to change the fuses in the car.
Yeah, I used to keep spare
fuses in my car. Is really weirdly scary if you're not used to it, right? Because you're just going, electricity, I'm going to die.
Yeah. And on those, in the older cars, they didn't have a little schematic printed on the plastic.
No.
Whereas nowadays, if you pull off the little plastic, it will literally lay out what
which of the fuses do what. Yeah.
But you'll have 2 to 3 different fuse boxes in your car.
Right.
Now.
Yeah.
It is different. I had a 78 Ford F-150, and opening up the hood, I could practically, there's so much space in there, I could practically get in with the engine. So I did a lot more trying to fix that because I could access it, I could see it made sense, versus my hybrid car with everything compacted in and on top of each other. And you got to remove, I hardly won't even change my battery because you got to remove like 4 pieces to get to it. Like, I just don't want to.
Changing the battery used to be way easier.
Oh, yeah.
Way easier. And now it's like, what is going on here? What are all these stupid connectors for? Yeah.
Yeah. So, no, it's a thing, but I do love experimenting with it. I like trying to figure it out. I honestly do get mad that my brother-in-law will not give me 3 seconds to go do it. He's always rushing in. So I've given up. I haven't cut my own grass in 10 years, man, because that's what he does. He just does it. I was like, cool, whatever.
Wow.
I spent my childhood doing it and most of my adulthood doing it. I don't care. But, yeah. And every once in a while, like, I tell my wife, like, you tell him, don't touch this. This is mine. I'm doing this project. But it's rare. But yeah, Joe, I don't know why. Joe fixed something within the last month or so. It just surprised me. Like, you can code all day long. I did not expect that you would say you fixed that yourself, whatever it was.
I put in a new mailbox. I don't know if that's what you're talking about, but
I don't know, maybe. I felt like it was something more in the house. I felt like it was more of a thing that you would call your father-in-law to do. But mailboxes aren't that simple. I'm trying to remember
because I did have my drill out and you were asking me about it. I remember the conversation. It might have been something other than the mailbox that I did with it, but yeah.
But yeah, YouTube can be your friend. I tell my kids that all the time. And honestly, just figuring it out. I will do a lot of my own plumbing because as long as it's accessible. And now, okay, I am a freaking giant, so I am not going to climb my happy butt underneath the counter. I'm just not going to do it. It's too, but I'll get my kids to do it, and I'll guide them with a flashlight and tell them what to unscrew and not unscrew, and it is kind of fun to go, oh yeah, you should have had a bucket before you did that.
Yep.
I remembered what it was. It was I switched out the hardware on one of my drawers in the kitchen. That's what our conversation was about, and you said you were surprised I didn't ask my father-in-law to help.
Maybe hardware seems easy.
I would probably do something.
Handles.
Yeah, I would probably do something like that, hardware or the rails, because like you can almost.
That's what I meant by the hardware.
The
the
rails. The rails and everything.
Yeah,
the tracks.
You can almost buy kits for that now. Yeah. So something like that I would do. I would if it bugged me enough.
Yeah. I mean,
and a lot of times you got to weigh the cost of learning how to do it, the time spent to do it, and if you have to buy any specialized tool to do it.
Right.
All of that's going to add up to cost and effort versus hiring someone to do it for you, and so that equation, especially the effort part, is going to be different for different people. So
I still say though, if you are younger, then the more of this stuff that you learn early on, the more it will serve you.
Yeah.
I really do wish I knew more about automotive repair. If we had auto shop in high school, I would have. If I could time travel, I would go back and do that.
Yeah,
but.
I mean, so much of cars nowadays is computerized that you really do need specialized equipment to even diagnose it.
See, the beauty of that is I have one of those ODB computers that you plug into the port.
Oh, there you go.
And so now if the check engine light goes on, I'll plug that in and go, okay, it's throwing this code. What does this code mean? Because Google's your friend.
Yeah.
And so when I bring it to the garage, A, it's not a surprise, or B, if it is a surprise, I know that they're trying to pull a fast one.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
man, it's not worth it to have it in a personal vehicle, but these cameras we have for our ambulance fleet, they do really cool things, and because they're tied into the OBD and all that, is that it will not just read the code and report it back to me. It gives a report on what the code means, some general repairs for it, and if there's a YouTube video, it's already pulled the YouTube video and put it in the report for me.
nice.
That, I mean, these are ambulances. We're not going to do it, but they are designed for small fleets. Like Kurt, if you had to travel to customers and you drove a truck for work, it's designed for that. So it's like, well, that really comes in handy to, like you said, to at least know that it's not a surprise that this is what the repair is going to be,
right?
Versus other things. I do feel good. Like I fixed my motorcycle last fall. I just ordered my shifter rod had gotten bent. Actually, it came to me bent and I didn't realize it. So ultimately I had to replace it. It was easy, but I had to lay on the ground and work in about half a foot space to get my hands in there and fix it. I'll cuss the whole time, but then I feel good about myself after I fixed it. And same with light fixtures. I'll do them all myself. I will not pay somebody to do that, but I will cuss and yell the whole time. And then when it's done, I feel good. It's good. So all that is good. Kelsey says she can handle it all by herself because she's just that awesome.
Yep.
But come on back next week where we're going to do some more awesome sauce type stuff.
Follow these nerdy dads on social media. Charles at Rock God of Podcasting. Joe at Joseph_Ard. Check out the website, wiseandnerdy.com. And as always, they may not be your father, but they'll always be your daddy.
Shut up, Mike. And Theo by Kurt everywhere you find anything.
Or 3D by Kurt.
But get to the point on the YouTube tutorial, for crying out loud.
Is that like the story